Hello and welcome to Not the Chair Circle, the antidote to group therapy. Episode 5, who'd have thought it? Tonight we're doing cancer. Now I know that doesn't sound like a bundle of laughs, but stick with it. It's my lived experience, as the millennials say, and I'm still smiling. Spoiler alert, it hasn't killed me. It's difficult to tell from where you're stood, I know. We've got a new feature, Culture with a capital K. Poetry Corner. Following that, we've got the return of musical therapy. Now, this had what I believe is known as a 100% positive response last week. 2 people wrote in and they both loved it. Thanks, sis. Thanks, Gail. I'm not going to tell you what the grand finale is, because I've watched all the YouTube videos on how to make YouTube videos now, and they all say you've got to leave them in suspense to make them watch till the end, so you'll have to wait. But first, cancer. Now, this nearly didn't make it onto the show, and here's the reason why. I was not so much concerned with the cancer, but the thought of having to attend group therapy again. The idea of that had me tearing my hair out. I just finished my chemotherapy and radiation treatment. I was now as hairless as a naked mole rat. It seemed to work downwards. Having already lost the hair on the crown, my eyebrows were first to go. Not long after that, my chest hair, such as it was, also departed. It continued to work its way south. Ultimately, my genitals were as pink and shiny as the day I started infants. Then, however, I had an amazing stroke of luck. As my last treatment came to an end, COVID struck. This put an end to any notion of group therapy for anyone, whatever their malady, for the foreseeable future. We danced till dawn on the ward that night. I was summarily sent home. I took every precaution on the way home. There was no way that I was going to end up back on the ward for the duration. The place was full of bloody sick people. Not only was I told to stay indoors, I was given the most comprehensive set of drugs that I had seen in years, and told to stay in bed and take them. Now, it is peculiar to my physiology that I can take any drug other than alcohol and exhibit no tendencies towards addiction. I found the heady combination of morphine and steroids a particularly pleasant way to spend an afternoon. I felt like Keith Richards. All the drugs and carefree lifestyle was not the only thing that made me feel like a rock star. As the continuing pandemic led to a nationwide lockdown, supermarkets were falling over themselves to supply the sick and dying with food and other sundries, now all precious commodities. While the mobs rioted in the street over flour to make bread, I received everything I required, delivered straight to my door through the rioting hordes. Here I am, taunting my neighbours with the last toilet roll in a 5-mile area. However, my jubilation was short-lived. I've mentioned the National Health Service before. The noble NHS was not going to let a small thing like a global pandemic prevent it from doling out necessary therapy. It went digital. It began with email. I, and presumably all the other poor sods in chemo, received an announcement of a brand new government-backed initiative for absolute mental health across the land. They had entitled this bold scheme, Every Mind Matters. The electronic literature that they bombarded us with was more patronising and infantile than anything I'd ever endured at the hands of any trick cyclist that I'd encountered in person. It followed familiar themes. 1. Relax, but not in nature. Well, not for more than an hour a day. The government had locked down the parks at this stage. Number 2. Take up a hobby. For example, learn a musical instrument. This was presumably some update on basket weaving. Number 3. Think happy thoughts. If we could do this, it is doubtful that we would have been in the therapy sessions in the first place. This was swiftly followed by an actual telephone call from an online counsellor, and my fate was sealed. answer the phone every week, or no more morphine for you, Bobby boy. I knew that it was too good to be true. So, no actual group therapy there, but not a total reprieve. And now it's time for our new feature, Poetry Corner. Over to Studio 5. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er dale and hill, when all at once I had a doubt and wondered what was in those pills. Well, that was short, sweet, and not quite the original text. Now, musical therapy. If you ever made it to the end credits of this show, yes, there are end credits, you will know that the whole shebang is a Bobby No Mates production. Now, we actually have Bobby No Mates himself in the studio tonight. He's going to perform an original composition called The Therapy Song. So over to Studio 2. CBT and DBT, MBT and NLP, DPT and BCT, CAT and IPT. Now I've done my therapy, won't you please just let me be? Well, a heartfelt and well-researched piece from Bobby there. Details of his wardrobe are available for all you fashionistas. I'm quite aware that he is one of YouTube's major influencers. And now on to the grand finale. Now, as you know, no expense is spent on this show. So I've dredged around in my psyche and come up with 4 characters who, if you're really unlucky, could end up being the in-house band. They call themselves the Bedlam Boogie Boys, and they're here to perform their own composition, We're All Happy Here. Before that, I'm going to bid you good night, and as always, I thank you for your kind indulgence. Over to Studio 8. When I was a boy, things seemed so drab. My life seemed oh so drear. The doctor came in the yellow van, and the white coats brought me here. We're all happy here. We're all happy here. Staff greet us with great affection. We're so glad that we were section. We're all happy here. We're all happy here. We're all happy here. You have been watching Not the Chair Circle, written by Bob McGowan, performed by Bob McGowan. Original music composed by Bob McGowan, performed by the Bedlam Boogie Boys. This has been a Bobby No Mates production. On the ward life is so fine, everything's so jolly. We have association time, then up comes nurse with the old meds trolley. We're all happy